Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Trey, and let's talk about X-Men 97. Yes, X-Men 97. Apparently the first two episodes came out, and I saw them. Yep. I would say it's very interesting. Am I going to say that the X-Men are back in form? Sort of, yeah. I would suggest from what I saw is if Marvel decides to bring the X-Men into the main continuity of the MCU, then go off of this. I'm telling you right now, you might struck gold with this one, Marvel. Go with whatever you're doing with the X-Men 97 so far. Go with it, because that might give you some success. Now, before we even, start, oh my God, that means, no. There's still some imperfections with the show. The opening, I saw the opening, but I don't know, the opening looks more like, how do you say,
on X-Men.
How do you say, what's that, it looks like Flash animation. Does that make sense? I know it's weird, but it looks like Flash animation. That's what it feels like. It feels like Flash animation, and that's been a problem with the show. The show itself looks like it looks like Flash animation, so it takes me out a lot because I can see the noticeable changes with the animation. I know a lot of people are like, just try to enjoy it. But a lot of the stuff, a lot of the errors there, it's like, God damn it, what the fuck? And the only reason why I'm a little partial because, the final couple of episodes of season 4 and the last final season of season 5 of the X-Men the animated series, the animation was hot horse shit. You know what I'm saying? Which led to the reason why the show got canceled in the first place, was that animation was just not on point at all. Even with the good stories that they were telling, the animation just was not holding up. And you get Marvel animation, and I don't know. Maybe it's because Marvel had other people to do the animations outside of them or whatever, for their shows back in the day. It's just like, but with X-Men Evolution and Wolverine and the X-Men, your latest two X-Men TV shows, and even when they did X-Men the animated series, the anime one, the one that Madhouse produced, looking better than this current one, it's like, what the hell was y'all thinking? You know what I'm saying? And that's my biggest beef so far, is the animation style of the characters and the flattening of the characters. Because remember, these characters are supposed to be based off of the Jim Lee design of the 90s. And while they retain some of it, they lose the finesse that Jim Lee had for it. They lose the finesse of the detail for the characters, if that makes sense. And I know some people are like, well, think about the 90s. Well, the 90s show was still drawn 2D animation. This one is using 2D and 3D animation with CGI at the same time. So what really is this excuse for looking half-assed? You know what I'm saying? It looks like it's not finished. And it looks like it's more for streaming. It is a streaming services, but it feels like more of like, okay, so a group of my friends and a group of friends or whatever, we decided that we want to do an X-Men animated series, and here's our work. That's what it looks like. It looks like a group of friends sat together and did it. And there's no shade in that. But when you're professionally asking people to pay for Disney Plus to watch it, and you're promoting it as like, this is what Marvel stands by, I just expect a little bit more. And you can't get mad that I expect more from X-Men 97, because if you're going to bring it back, I'm going to expect more. I'm going to expect it to look better. Now, The whole morph thing, I don't understand why his face is blank like that. It's weird. I don't understand why Aurora and Rogue feel so flat. They feel flat. Bishop feels less opposing, which that's another problem for me. Like, I'm talking about design wise. Like, if you're going to design these characters, come on now. First off, not Rogue, but Storm and Rogue were very athletic. You can see their bodies, their movements, when they were wearing their costumes or whatever. And I just feel like it loses that essence. And Bishop felt like a muscle-bound intimidation and right now it just feels like he's just kind of like I stopped going to the gym for a little bit. Who cares? You know what I mean? And Sunspot, you added Sunspot in there to do what? You know what I'm saying? I don't really need another Jubilee thing going on. And honestly, her voice actress right now, aggravating. I mean, Jubilee was already aggravating anyway, but I don't know. This one feels like a season. It doesn't feel like a seasoned Jubilee. What I mean when I say season, I mean it feels like a seasoned Asian girl who, never really had to struggle or whatever. You get what I'm saying? So that's what it feels like. It feels like more of a Jubilee that maybe years down the line, but it doesn't feel like Jubilee, if that makes sense. Because some of the voice acting was a little off too. I noticed the Rogue's hair, one of her strands of hair should be white, but it wasn't white. It was kind of like, come on now, what are we doing? You know what I mean? Like, what's happening here? Why? What is that error right there that I'm seeing? I know that's a little nitpick, but I'm just saying, I'm noticing a lot of errors when it comes to the Darren show. And the voice actor for Wolverine, boy, what you doing? Is you sleep through the lines or whatever? I don't feel the passion anymore. And I understand people get older or whatever, but you would just think like, come on now. So this just me kind of like throwing out a lot of the stuff that I didn't really enjoy. It just feels like this show needs a little bit more time to bake. Like I said, I do not like the haircuts for Storm and Bishop at all. Now, for spoiler alert for anybody y'all don't know, at the end of the second episode with the trial of Magneto, which yes, they adapted the trial of Magneto, and he wears his M where he becomes the headmaster for the X-Men as well. Storm pushes Magneto out the way to dodge a laser that was shot by the Executioner, and that right there made Storm lose her powers. So when she lost her powers, she did leave the X-Men team. And my thing is about that is that's when you probably should have maybe shaved her head, her hair, or whatever, stuff like that, where she's not feeling like a mutant. She doesn't feel, special or whatever. And then that's where you would get rid of like her haircut. That's where you would get rid of her hair, because that was like one of those moments where, like, when Storm lost her powers or whatever, that's kind of like when she kind of like went through a little phase or whatever. Jean Grey is pregnant, had the baby Nathan. They did the thing where she wasn't alone this time, because if you guys know Madeline Pryor, she was alone in X-Men mansion while she was giving birth to her baby, because a water broke and the X-Men was out and about or whatever. But this time they had got Wolverine to be there. So Wolverine drove her to the hospital or whatever, and then Rogue and Cyclops from the battle flew over to the hospital so they can be there for the birth of Nathan Charles Summers. And it's kind of funny because the doctor didn't want to like deliver, which is kind of crazy. It's just like, no, the doctor would have still delivered, but okay, fine, whatever. So then Rogue had to absorb the doctor information so that she can help deliver their baby. That was something cool. And then I will say Morph did morph into like a lot of Easter eggs. Sabretooth, Psylocke, I believe it was Colossus he transformed into, Lady Deathstrike, which I don't even know. I don't think morph powers work like that, but okay. Like he morphed to the point where he literally morphed into Psylocke and swords came out of nowhere. Oh shit, damn it, what the fuck? And swords literally came out of nowhere. So I'm just like, I don't know about that, but all right, we'll let you have that. I mean, basically, it was just like, hey, here's a reform of the X-Men, because in the first episode, Sunspot was kidnapped, and by the mutant against humanity, all that bullshit. Storm and Bishop came in, Cyclops came in, which I will give it to them. They did improve Cyclops, because Cyclops was the leader of the X-Men, and they really showed like, oh yeah, he's a leader for a reason. He is definitely the leader for a reason, because he was leading, and he was fighting and everything. So I'll give him credit for that. Because, Lord knows nowadays they be forgetting that Cyclops is like the leader and a master tactician for the X-Men. So I'll give them credit for that. I saw the Sentinel scene. It was okay. But again, like I said, it's the animation. That's the problem. That kind of, but it didn't give me like it didn't give me the feels that I was reliving, the classic 90s show. It's just like, okay, here's the X-Men, they're back, and here's a show, and it picks up a year after the events of the original X-Men animated series, but I didn't feel like I was getting the vibe of the X-Men. Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying? But hey, it is what it is, right? I really don't have anything bad to say. I kind of thought, because the way the interviews was going, so maybe this might be a trick again, where it's not really us like overthinking or whatever, but these people put their foot in their mouth so much to the point where it turns people off. But remember, this is the first 2 episodes, so I do not want to brag and be like, oh yeah, this is amazing so far. The first 2 episodes are enjoyable, and it leaves on a cliffhanger where Storm leaves the team. Magneto proves to humanity that, he's not going to go back to doing what he's doing, that he's going to keep Charles' dream alive, because, Charles made Magneto, the head of his estate or whatever. So the X-Men and his finances and everything is under the possession of Magneto. Crazy, I know. And then Storm had one of these passionate letters when she left the team, because she just couldn't leave the team face to face. She had to leave them with a letter. After the letter read, the doorbell rung, and guess who showed the hell up? A injured, battered Jean Grey, which is kind of crazy because Jean Grey just had a baby. So clearly we know that the Jean Grey that was pregnant, wasn't Jean Grey. It was probably Madeline Pryor with the memories of Jean Grey. And of course they're probably gonna redact some of the Dark Phoenix stuff, which is fine, because we all know that eventually Madeline Pryor was going to have to show up anyway. Honestly, I'm surprised Cable didn't show up in the series. And honestly, I would love to see a little bit more X-Men characters show up on the team, besides the ones we have now, because the 90s team was a little bit bigger. But that's just my personal opinion on that kind of situation, you know. But like I said, they're thoroughly enjoyable. I don't know. I'm not saying don't watch them, but it is the first 2 episodes. Again, this could easily go south fast because they could easily get you. Because think about it, Young Justice. When Young Justice came back for season 3 and season 4, everything looked good, and then as the episodes went on, you're like, what in God's name happened here? So we'll see. But hopefully if the show gets renewed for season 2, which I think they already did season 2 or season 3, they'll make the changes that people ask for. And then, you know, hey, we'll get the X-Men that people want. But like I said, maybe Marvel understands that, hey, X-Men is their biggest franchise and they need to make this shit work, because if they don't make it work, it's over for Marvel. But yeah, that was it, really. It really wasn't much to really talk about. You know, the X-Men defeated the Sentinels and Master Mole again. Magneto was on trial. And that's really about it. And Storm left the team. Jean Grey had the baby. And then another Jean Grey collapsed in Morph's arms. But yeah, other than that, that was it, everything. Let me know what you guys think about the X-Men 97 series. Did you watch it? If not, that's fine. Let me know if you did. And I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.